Natalie, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. I can't believe it's been 8 years.
Unbelievable. Like when I think about, when we think about, okay, 8 years, right? So to us, it doesn't seem like, oh, it's just been 8 years. But then when I think about like your daughter, like how old was she 8 years ago? She was still
Oh,
like
and she was
12,
10. Now she's
10.
18.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy, right? And now she's an adult and she's off kind of navigating her life in the music world and all that fun stuff. But, 8 years of us, not only you being on the show, but then us working together and you speaking to my mastermind when we were out in San Diego and just some really great stuff. And I'm excited to have you back on because of your journey over the last 8 years and the shifts that you've made and the really completely shifting your entire brand and focusing in
hmm
on what's important to you. And I think so many people are afraid of that, right? So you've gone from overall fitness to midlife. How do I live a healthier life at no matter what age I'm going to be at? What made you want to make that shift?
Well, first of all, the only time and way that I can talk about anything is if I'm actually interested in it. And I
Mm,
think if you really look at most people that crush an area or are thriving in an area, it's because they're interested in it. When you are just doing something because of you're told you can make money in it, or because someone told you you have to, or because you've been doing it for too long, that passion seems to go away. And that translates through to content. So whether you're doing a podcast or a YouTube video, or you're a guest speaking on stage, if you're talking about something just because you've always talked about it, that passion can tend to fade away. So for me personally, I have always kind of had that rule in my life that unless I'm personally interested in it, it's not the thing I'm going to focus on.
yeah. And it's funny, there are so many people that'll just do it because, hey, this is making me money. This is the thing that is my breadwinner, right? I see a lot of people in the entrepreneur
hmm
space, they tend to waver and they go, you know what, I'm shutting that part of what I'm doing down and I want to focus on this because this is what I'm passionate about. And then they very quickly go pick it back up
Yeah.
because it's the easy thing to do. So I love the fact that you only talk about these things that you're interested in. Now, obviously, when you talk about midlife, like I think it's fascinating to say, hey, we have to approach things a little bit differently. And I think across the
hmm
board, a lot of people are talking about aging more gracefully. Like I look at my grandmother when she was like 50 and she looked like she did when she was 85. You know what I mean? Like where it's such a different generation now.
Yeah.
And so where were you when you finally made that decision? Like, okay, I'm done talking about only abs and now I'm talking about lifestyle.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because when I first started my business online, it started by accident. I was going through my own transformation. I had my own rock bottom journey, and fitness really like saved me. So it was me changing my life and then sharing what I was doing attracted in other people. So my original business was based on that. And yes, I happened to get a six pack and people wanted to know about that. So I would talk about that. But after years of talking about that, honestly, it felt sort of empty. Like it didn't feel like it was really helping people. And it felt like noise, and it just wasn't my interest anymore. Like, yes, I still have abs and a strong core, but helping just anyone get that just didn't feel like that would light me up, and it didn't feel like it was really serving the world in a great place. It just was just another thing. And truth of the matter is, you can find that from so many people online now, right? It's just that everywhere there's that. So for me personally, as I walk through things and I want to dig deeper and learn about them, that's when I typically will speak up. And if I think back to even my podcast, it's called Midlife Conversations now, but that's the third iteration of it, as you know, Justin. Like when I first started, I called it leveling up. And the reason I did that is I knew at that time I wanted to leave fitness and not just be fitness. And I was in this really interesting time in my business because when I'm not passionate about something, I don't do well with it. So my business had really dropped, and I wanted to interview people on how they created everything from nothing. So that's literally why I started my podcast. I started it as out of my own interest. How do people go from starting over or losing everything to building? So I did my podcast initially just for that reason. I didn't have a plan to monetize it. I didn't have any of that. And I really liked podcasting. I really liked the conversations, but eventually that even ran its course. I'm like, well, okay, how many of these conversations can I have? After 100 of them, you're like, well, I've heard the same things. So it was time to pivot it. So Midlife Conversations was sort of born from, I was navigating my own midlife changes. I'm noticing I'm 54 at the time of us talking right now, that I had a lot of questions that weren't really fully being addressed. So I wanted to learn about that. So me changing to Midlife Conversations and interviewing about those topics really helped me understand what was going on and change things. And then others found would follow along just like they did with the fitness days.
Yeah. And I think in your world specifically, there's so much noise, right? Like there's so many
Lots.
things of like even, let's talk from the fitness space, all the noise, right? Hey, you should be paleo, you should be vegan, you should be meat only, carnivore, all these things, right? And then as you get into midlife, it's like these are the supplements you want to do, these are the workouts you want to do. This is the thing that you need to navigate next. How do you navigate your own life? Like how do you make the
Yeah.
decisions for yourself?
Yeah, actually, it can be quite frustrating. There's so much information out there. It is confusing. There's a lot of information overload. And adding AI into the mix, it's extra confusing and it's annoying. It's frustrating to know what you actually even do. So there's kind of two ways I look at this. Number one, you have to be your own health detective. And I tell men and women this, you literally have to be your own health detective. And in this age of information, you can make that a plus or you can make that an overwhelming stressor, right? Most people say it's an overwhelming stressor. I don't want to dive in. There's just too much stuff. But the smart way would be, no, I need to be my own health advocate. I've got to take on information and study it the same way we did in school, the same way you did before you started your career. It's studying it. Your body is your only body. Your life is your only life. So why would you not invest the most of your knowledge and time into learning about that? So for me, a big pivot was teaching women, and then myself included, is how to be my own health detective, meaning you take one topic, but you have to study it. You look at it. So take food, for example. Food has gotten not so crazy, but the rules are still the rules. Unprocessed natural food is best. If it makes sense, if it makes common sense, it's probably good for you. When we hear extreme things, you have to question it. So does it make sense when someone says, oh, because you're over 50, you should not have vegetables. Now vegetables kill you. Like that to me doesn't really make sense. So, but there's noise about that out there, right? So it's not that food has completely changed necessarily. It's just that we've gotten sucked into, I don't like how I'm aging, or I don't like what's going on, so let me find the quick fix answer. But the rules still apply. We still have to be a detective, take common sense, and really use your own science experiment of one, like what actually is working for me.
Yeah. So, it's interesting. You talk about food and just you talked about this when we first met, right? Just basic stuff, fruits, vegetables, all those basic things. And now more so than ever, I think it's come to light that our food here in America is broken. The system is broken. The food we eat is broken. And you talk about going on a trip with Brooks overseas, and you're like, I can eat whatever I want. I'm eating all the pastas, all the carbs, all the things, and I'm not gaining any weight. How can people kind of battle that with so much bad stuff in our food, whether it's seed
Mhm.
oils or manufactured BS? Like, how can we make sure that we're eating right, even as our lives are busy traveling and all these things?
So the word bad is kind of subjective, but if you look at, nothing has changed. Where if you eat a primarily unprocessed natural real food diet, so things that once grew, so think fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, nuts, seeds, oils. If you eat food in its most natural state, that is ideal. That's unprocessed. Now, could we get into an argument that the soils are more depleted? Sure. Could we get into an argument about pesticides being near? Yes, all of that. However, the general rule of if you focus on an unprocessed natural real food diet, you eliminate 99% of the issues that are going on in our food. The problem comes into when you're eating processed packaged junk food because we don't know what's going into that. There's a lot going into that, a lot of chemicals, a lot of changes, a lot of GMO, a lot of things are happening to that food supply that makes it not ideal for our body. So just by saying, I'm going to ignore most of what's in the grocery store and I'm going to shop those outside aisles and focus on natural, unprocessed foods, you're going to avoid a lot of those problems. Now, where does that come into play when you're looking at travel or wherever? Well, all of that still comes into play. So if I go order a plate of vegetables and fruit and cheese or whatever in Europe versus here, is there some differences? There could be, absolutely. Maybe their rules are a little bit different. But that part is a lot smaller than the processed food problem. So the processed food problem in general is the greater problem.
And so obviously, like you said, shopping those outside aisles, try your best to be as clean as possible, no matter where you go, and making the smart choices. Now, I want to talk a little bit about biohacking and all the craziness that's happening in that space because I think there's a
Yeah,
lot of noise
a
there
lot.
too, right? Red light therapy and float tanks and whatever else. What have you found? I mean, I'm sure you've tried all of it, if not,
All of
dabbled
it.
or looked into it, right? What do you feel as far as, as you're aging? What are some of the tools you use regularly in order to make sure you're at your peak position or peak physical position?
So I'm in a fortunate position where I do try a lot of things and get to try. And a lot of that, quite frankly, is because companies reach out to me and they ask me to try it, and I'll learn and I'll share my honest review about it. So I do experiment and try a lot of things. But what I will tell you is there are very few biohacking things, and there are a few that I absolutely love. And I think this is amazing, but nothing beats natural components. So for example, is red light great? Sure. Red light's amazing. What's better? The sun. Okay. Is infrared sauna great? Yep. Infrared sauna is amazing. What's better? Getting outside, being in the sun. Is hydrogen breathing great? Yes, it's phenomenal. What's better? Like, so I could go down the road on every single thing, but nothing is going to beat how you're going to feel being actually outside in nature. And I mean, getting real air, getting real sun, getting out in nature, being on the grass, like just literally getting outside is going to beat most of these things. The reason we've developed so many biohacking things is because people are spending too much time inside with fluorescent lights and not getting outside. And so we need those things to sort of counteract. But do I think they're better? I can't say we can say anything is better than actual nature.
Yeah, yeah. And well, you live in Arizona. I live in Pennsylvania, and currently it's gray. It's been gray for like a week and a half here.
Yeah.
And I look at it from that standpoint of like, okay, well, if you live in a place in the world where you don't have the sun all the time, it's great to kind of use that as an aside. But when the sun is out, get outside and enjoy the
But
fresh
even when
air,
the
which is
sun's not
huge.
out, if you went outside right now, and it might be really cold there, it's probably like 35 degrees, 40 degrees outside right
28
now.
degrees today. Awesome.
Okay. But if you were to go outside and go for a walk, bundled up, even for 30 minutes, you would feel amazing when you got back. You know you
Yeah,
would. Just
100%.
being outside near nature, fresh air, you would feel good. And the cold would probably be good for you. So still, even then, I'd argue that I'm not saying don't add in. Look, heck, I have all that stuff in my house. I use all of it. Don't use it as a replacement for getting outside when you can.
Yeah. So what does your day-to-day look like as far as, making sure you're executing on all this, plus running a business and a podcast and all these other things? What does your day-to-day
Yeah.
look like?
So my number one priority is taking care of myself. And that might sound really weird to some people, but it's literally, I cannot show up for other people. I can't show up for my business. I can't show up for my clients. I can't show up for my podcast. I can't show up for anything if I don't actually take care of myself. So like my number one priority is that. So as far as like a schedule, I would not say I have a regimented, like this is what I do every single day. Like I joke that my husband is very regimented. It's Groundhog Day for him. I can know what he's doing exactly on the hour, every day. I would not say that I'm like that. But what I will say is sleep is a massive priority for me, massive priority. So I'm that person that's going to bed pretty darn early. Like I'm in bed at like 8:30 and I am out within that hour. And I sleep 8-9 hours a night. I do. So sleep is a total priority. I don't use an alarm to wake up unless there's a really rare exception. But usually, so number one, sleep. Sleep is free. It is the most important thing. So that's important. I also do things that don't require extra time. For example, I have an air filter in my room. So that's not requiring time, but I know I'm getting clean air. I use a weighted blanket. I'm going to sleep better. So we block out all blue light. There's no Wi-Fi or blue light or EMFs coming through in our bedroom. So those are things that don't take extra time, but you're making sure you're getting completely, uninterrupted sleep. So that's number one. And then supplements that I'll take along with that. And then as far as the morning, the first thing is always opening the blinds or getting outside. You want to try to get that natural sunrise in. Because I do use, like, as I'm even recording this with you, I've got these big LED lights that are facing at me, right? LED lights, unfortunately, have replaced most lights that most people have in every building, and they flicker. So even if you don't see them flickering, they are flickering and they wreak havoc on our cortisol, on our brain, on the whole aging process, on our mitochondria. It affects everything, those flickering. So it's critical that we counter those. So like if I'm sitting here talking to you, and I had an interview right before this too, I have these lights on me. The first thing I'm going to do when I'm done is go step outside. I want to counter that flickering. At night, when the sun's setting, I'll always kind of block that out with blue light blockers, make sure I'm not getting that. So, and we actually have gone as far as we turn off every light in our house that's got an LED, and we have bought the old fashioned, the amber lights. We have these old fashioned bulbs. So we'll use either that. It mimics like firelight or candles. So at night, so that actually helps you kick in your own melatonin. It helps you wind down your cortisol. So you could do things like that don't require time, that are actually helping to mimic. As far as me during the day, my only priorities that I know I'm going to do, I know I'm absolutely going to move my body at some point. So that'll be walking, that'll be going to the gym, it'll be doing something to move my body. And then my favorite biohacks that I'll do is pretty much most nights I'll go in my infrared sauna, mostly because I like to sweat and do that. And I love hydrogen breathing. Now, if I don't have those, because I'll travel a lot, it's not the end of the world. So I haven't depended on those. It's just these nice to extra have them.
Is there anything else that you do to help with sleep? And the reason this is for my own
Yeah.
knowledge here, and I've had sleep experts on. Molly Eastman's been on the show and has become a friend, and I'm like, I'm the worst sleeper of all time. And like I've tried everything. I've
Like
tried
falling asleep or staying asleep.
a little bit of both. It depends. But
Okay.
falling asleep for sure. Some nights it's like an hour plus.
And what time do you go to bed?
Like 9:45, 10 o'clock.
And are you cutting off electronics and blue light at night?
No, not to the extreme of you. I mean, I don't obviously like I probably look at my phone too late before I go to bed, but then once it's done, it's done. But I don't block it all out of my room like you guys do.
Okay. So the first thing I would say for anybody and everybody is that like that's number one. So like even as I'm talking to you, I'm watching that you have earbuds in your ears and I don't have them in mine. So you're getting extra EMF really into your brain right now. So that's right there. I would say like I don't use any kind of Bluetooth in my ear either. Does my husband. So people
So go back to the wires.
Everything's wired for me. Everything's wired. If I'm going to use a Bluetooth, it'll be the over the ears, like for a small amount of time. But it's not my go-to. And then I'm going to bring in these things up because a lot of people will tell me they have trouble with sleep, but I can see all these little things that would make a huge difference before you even add supplements into the equation. So number one, you got to reduce EMF. You got to reduce any kind of Bluetooth. That two is the blue light. So it's really, really important at sunset, which where you live, it's probably around 5 or 5:30 in the winter right now, is you've got
4:30.
to mimic sunset means no. So that's blue light blockers. That's if you're going to use your phone screen, turning it to the amber on there. But anytime you're doing that, you're basically shooting blue light at you, which is going to raise cortisol. So those things are really, really easy. And then in your bedroom, it is important to block out shades. It's important to make sure you don't have electronics. Like we cover anything that has like a time or anything that's electronic, we'll cover it, the sticker, so that we don't have any light creeping in. Those things alone are like the easiest things to totally change how you're winding down and how your natural melatonin is kicking up. Now, if you look at supplements, there are a few that I absolutely love for that. I mean, it depends, but again, supplements you shouldn't have to take. It should be like this is the supporting thing. One is there's different magnesiums. And you can use different magnesiums to affect deep sleep. I happen to use upgraded formulas. They're not even a sponsor of mine right now. I just love that formula for their it helps with deep sleep specifically. So I do those every night. If you're a female, not you, Justin, you wouldn't do this. But females are typically, especially in midlife, lower in progesterone. So progesterone supplementing is very, very safe, and it's one of those things that actually will really help fall asleep and stay asleep. So progesterone is a key one. And then other natural supplements that I love for sleep, CBD oil is a great one. So adding any kind of CBD oil would help that. Melatonin, I'm a fan of sometimes. So if you are having trouble and you're just retraining yourself, it could be something you use, like 3 milligrams sublingual type of thing. Or if you're traveling in a different time zone, but it's not something you want to use every single night or you'll suppress your own secretion of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I heard that's not the greatest supplement to take. Obviously, if you're taking it every night, terrible. But from time to time, you say it's safe from time to time.
It's safe for retraining. And also at that 3 milligram level, that's a really low amount, especially like a sublingual 3 or less. If it's for retraining, it's good. Also, there's a lot of studies on melatonin and how it affects and helps our heart health. There's a lot of benefits to it as well. The reason people say it's not great is you don't want to suppress your own melatonin, but to do it as a temporary thing to retrain yourself, I think there's nothing wrong with it. I've done it. I know when I travel, I use it a lot. I definitely use it many times. It's not addictive. It's just one of those things to help retrain and reset you.
Yeah, totally makes sense. I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about building your brand and continuing to evolve that brand over time as you evolve as an individual. What are some things that you do to make sure you're on top of it? Like your content is consistent. It's great. Like I am the worst person with posting, right? Like I post like every 5 days. I'm like, oh, I guess I should put something on Instagram. So how do you make sure that you're executing on all these things to making sure that you're staying on top of it, making sure you're educating your audience, whether it's through Instagram, through the podcast? What do you do to make sure you're still on track all the time?
So you're probably going to not love my answer, but I'm going to say it anyway. First of all, I don't post every day. I post like I haven't. I'm time of us talking right now. I haven't posted in a few days. I only post when I'm feeling compelled to post. That's number one. I don't do things just to do them. I do them because I'm thinking of something. It's making sense to me. It's a question I've been getting. It's feeling relevant. When I feel that, that is my own creative, good, like passionate content that I'll put out there. But I do not post just to post. Now, if I have something coming up, like I'm marketing a class or there's a specific thing, that's a little different. I'll be planning for that, but it's still something I'm passionate about or thinking about. When I teach social content, and it's funny because people always want to hire me for social media. I'm like, that's not what I do. I don't teach you how to grow your social media, but people have hired me many times to help them with their own content creation. Like, what does that look like? My first thing is, people overuse that word authentic. Really, what authentic means is it's literally really you and your thoughts. It's literally what you believe, what you're passionate about. It's not what somebody else told you to do. It's not what you saw somebody else doing. It's not what you think you should be doing. It's your literal thoughts. Like, this is important and meaningful. And I think people need to hear this. And when you come from that space and that's what you're posting or sharing about, there's not one hater or negative comment that will ever get to you because it's your absolute truth. The reason negative comments or haters or gets to people is because it's not their actual truth. When you're being inauthentic, when you're being fake, when you're doing something that you're supposed to do or you think you're supposed to do, that's when you get bothered by comments because something's off there. But when you're telling your absolute truth, that's key. I hate when people just use memes or graphics on social. To me, that's also not really authentic. The best way to do content is honestly just you on video talking and sharing what's coming up for you.
Yeah, and I feel like the things you don't overthink are the things that do really well. A number of years ago, my stepdaughter was in a Halloween parade at our school, and I filmed her, and she refused to break character. She was supposed to be like this dead thing or whatever. And I posted the video and had like a voiceover that said, when you go see your bonus daughter in a Halloween parade and she refuses to break character. 7 million views on Facebook.
Oh my gosh.
100,000 plus on TikTok. Only because I called her my bonus daughter. So people were arguing in the comments about like, who says bonus daughter? Could you imagine hating your kid so much you call it a bonus kid? And I'm like, I think, when you talk about showing up authentically, even if you're doing something that may rub somebody the wrong way, like you can't get offended because it is 100% your thought. It is your process. Right. Like I was just laughing at these people arguing in my comments, right? Like it's like bizarre. Like how do you ever, I know you always post from the moment, but have you ever thought like, maybe I shouldn't post that. That's a little controversial. Or you're like, oh no, I should post that. That is controversial.
If it's something I'm really thinking about and it's really relevant to me, I'm going to post it. I can tell you like probably the most controversial thing I did in the last year was when they were talking about lifting, getting rid of food coloring, like I'm not somebody I honestly don't even watch the news. I don't care to watch it. I don't get sucked into it. But to me, I've been talking about unprocessed natural food for years. My first book is literally called Unprocess Your Diet. So I was confused when I scrolled social media one day, this is months ago, and I had seen some commentation about like why this is stupid that we're getting rid of food coloring. And I genuinely didn't understand. So I posted something asking, help me understand. I'm just kind of confused why people are against this. I was really curious. I was not taking a side. And I could not believe how slammed I got. And I was like, what? Like some people, and I didn't realize it was such a political hot topic. But when I saw that, I was like, okay, wait a minute. Everyone kept tagging this one nutritionist. So I didn't take it as offensive. I actually reached out to her and said, hey, I'd love to interview you on my show because I'm genuinely curious. And I'm glad I did that because I really did learn a lot. It was an interesting conversation. My stance still stood that I don't think food colorings are good for us, but I understood in the public health scope that maybe it wasn't the priority so it was fine. So yeah, that was probably the most controversial thing I posted. What's a little frustrating is I really was being genuine there. Like I was saying, this is my thoughts. I'm curious, but people took that as it's like a stunt and it wasn't. It was really genuinely my curiosity. I can tell you very recently, I posted something, every January I do a big fat loss launch and I'm not doing it this year. Doesn't mean I'm not selling my programs. I still have my programs. I'm still very much in that space. I'm just not doing a big launch. The reason I'm not doing a big launch is I don't feel like it because it's a lot of marketing. It's a lot of work. And I don't feel like going up against the noise around GLPs, around AI. I just don't feel like it right now. I'm not in that position to do that. I don't want to. And I shared about that. And that was interesting too, how divisive that one got. Like, I can't believe you're giving up. I'm like, I didn't say I'm giving up. I said I'm not. So it's just funny how when you share something, you have to be prepared that people aren't going to necessarily understand why it's hard to do that in a 30-second reel,
Yeah.
Podcast is a lot different. You can explain yourself.
Yeah. You mentioned GLPs. Let's go there for a second. What's your take on GLP-1s? Obviously,
Yeah.
seems like everybody's doing it. I just saw a video of Kelly Osbourne, who was already thin, and she looks like her
Yeah.
mother because her
Yeah.
face is like inside out. What is your take on
I have a lot
GLP-1s?
of opinions. Yeah. So first and foremost, I think it's incredible how cutting through technology it is for a lot of people. So I think I'm not against them. I think it's amazing for a lot of people for a lot of reasons. So, but I'm going to tell you my caveats here. So number one, for people that genuinely have struggled with obesity, absolutely breakthrough technology, huge there. And I think it's phenomenal. People that type 2 diabetes, I love that it's an option other than metformin or insulin so a lot of things to be said for that. I know women in my programs, I certainly don't sell GLPs, but a lot of them, if they're using it, I love that they're in my programs because I get to still teach them how to eat right and maintain muscle and do all the things with it. So I think technology, incredible for that. My problem with them, because there's a problem with them too, is they are fueling eating disorders. So people that don't actually need them are now using them as an excuse to be crazy, scary skinny. And it's dangerous and it's frightening. I don't know if you've seen any of this on TikTok or if it's just my algorithm, but people really like glamorizing a 500 calorie diet or like making jokes about like when your friends come over for dinner, but there's nothing in the fridge, but you show them this. Like, it's just, to me, eating disorders have always been an issue. And now we've created a monster with eating disorders. So I have a problem there. I have a problem when it's not medically supervised. So people that are doing them without actually getting labs checked, working with a doctor. I have a problem with them being overprescribed. So for example, some people, you could do a very tiny amount and get the results you're looking for. And people are doing these excessive amounts that are not needed to the point where their hair's falling out, they're getting nauseous. Like, that's scary to me. And I definitely have an issue with all of these MLMs popping up, multi-level marketing, where influencers are selling them. They're not doctors, right? They're selling them research peptides from over who knows what. I just think that's gotten out of control. So my stance is I think they are life-changing. They are incredible. I am for them. I'm very concerned about where that's going on in the eating disorder world.
Yeah, it's almost like you have to couple it with some sort of support system, and that's what's not happening, right? Like there's no mental health check, there's no any of that. They go, oh, like to the point of like, oh, you're 20 pounds overweight, you should probably take this, which that's not the case, right?
Well, here's my concern, and I'm all for not having crazy regulations and everything, right? Like, you have to be your own health advocate. I just want people to really think about what they're doing here. So if you know deep down this is what's helping you, amazing. Just know you're going to be on it for the rest of your life. Like, that's important to know. This is not like you do it temporarily and then you're not on it. I'm also concerned about people that really do know if you have an eating disorder. You know if you're eating 400 calories, 500 calories a day. You know if your hair is falling out, that's not normal. So you just got to really be mindful because you are destroying your health. And it's not just GLPs. I'm watching this with everything, Justin. Like, for years, I know in the 70s, everyone smoked. It was like nicotine, lose weight, smoke, nicotine, right? Well, nicotine's back now. Like, why all of a sudden is nicotine trendy in the biohacking world? People wearing nicotine patches. So like, it's just all repackaged again a different way. Eating issues, the desire to be skinny, desire to be thin, unfortunately, is not going away. We had a small blip on the radar where people were embracing body positivity and saying, this is good. That's gone. We're back to, why is everyone not skinny? It's scary.
Yeah. And the drug kind of fuels that, right? Like that, I think that there's a reel out there that I've seen multiple times where they're like, oh, so now that there's GLP-1s, there's no more body positivity. Like there's no, like it's completely just washed away. It's absolutely unbelievable.
But I'm not against them. And I think that fitness and nutritionists, and that falls into me, I think you're doing a disservice to say that you're completely against them, because then that's also not reading the room. That's like to say that that's like saying you're completely against cholesterol, insulin, or like if this is something that actually can cure, fix, help something. To say you're completely against them is also a little bit risky. I think what we need to be doing instead is learn about them, understand them, and help facilitate the right way to work with the doctor or work with the patient that's actually using them, because you still do need to eat adequate calories. You still want to preserve muscle. You still want to do this the healthy way. So I think you'll never hear me say I'm against them. I just want to understand more, and I want to help people do them responsibly.
Yeah, totally, 100%. So I want to talk a little bit about some hormone replacement therapy as well,
Yeah.
especially into midlife as people are perimenopause, menopause, and then obviously for men too with testosterone. What's your take on all of that?
Yeah. Same thing. I absolutely love hormone replacement therapy. I think it can be extremely life changing. It could be incredible. I also think there's got to be a responsibility around that too. For example, let's talk about women first. So, wanting to replace your estrogen is amazing. Wanting to do it to feel better, to not have hair loss, to avoid this crazy weight gain, the mood changes, the low energy, the focus, all of that's incredible. When you get into menopause, perimenopause is about 10 years, and then menopause, you have this drop off. It is very real that hormones declining will help age you rapidly. Like it's a thing. So there's this conversation of should you go natural or should you do that? I think keeping hormones on board is actually natural because one of the ways to accelerate disease is menopause. Like literally stopping all hormone production does accelerate disease in a lot of ways. However, what's gone wrong with hormone replacement is also this responsibility conversation. People are looking at it as a one size fits all or thinking it's just everyone needs it or everyone needs a certain dose. What I'm doing dose wise has nothing to do with what Mary is doing dose wise. We are all very, very unique. And there's a lot of variables when it comes to hormone replacement. Meaning, what are your genetics? Like, what are your genetic pathways for what happens when you actually take hormone replacement? Two, how does your own body process hormones? So, if you take somebody who is completely healthy, they're eating an unprocessed food diet, they are a healthy weight, all their metabolic markers are in check, but now they're declining hormones, and we add estrogen. We might do amazing with it. Maybe everything is going to be great and your body uses what it needs. It secretes what it doesn't. However, you take somebody who's got a lot of metabolic issues, they're not eating healthy, they don't have good detox pathways. What's happening with those excess hormones you're adding? Well, your body's not going to process them efficiently. You might actually store them in fat tissue and you can create issues. So it's not a conversation about do hormones cause cancer or do hormones cause disease? Does your body know what to do with them? And is that problematic? So I personally, again, I'm not anyone's doctor. I'm just someone who's interviewed a gazillion people on the topic and have obsessively studied this on my own. In my personal opinion, small levels, small therapeutic levels to get you to normal and feeling good are amazing. And being really mindful of your detox pathways and how you're clearing them. I know, like for me, for example, I'm on estrogen and progesterone. I was on testosterone injections and they were horrible for me. My detox pathways were not supporting of it. So what was happening is for me, it was bringing up my testosterone high. My free testosterone was very low, so I wasn't feeling it. And it was converting, it was aromatizing into estrogen, which was making me estrogen dominant, which was creating fibroids and a thicker uterine lining and all these negatives. Now, if I had just had a blood test and read a book, people go, no, that's fine. No, it's not fine. When you look at your DNA and you look at your pathways, that would have been very problematic for me. So I had to stop that. So I'm a study of one for me. You listening are a study of two for you. So it's just about being a detective there. I say the same thing for men. Why, should every man be doing testosterone? Maybe. I'll tell you, my husband, for example, he was low on testosterone. He did not do testosterone replacement. Instead, he started going in the sun every day and taking DHA. Like he started taking a few supplements that helped. His testosterone has skyrocketed without taking testosterone replacement. So should he have added it? Not necessarily. There's a lot of ways you can bring it up naturally too.
Yeah, no, and the end of the day, it comes back to you have to find out what's best for you, whether
Yes.
it's the food you're eating, the supplements you're taking, the processes you're going through, 100%. But I want to ask you this question. I ask a lot of people on the show, not every time, but a lot of the times. And I want you to fast forward to the end of your life. Now, look, you've created a ton of content. You've got books, you've got podcasts, you've got all these things. I want you to imagine all that's gone and you can only be remembered for one sentence. What would you want that sentence to be?
She made me feel empowered.
I love it. I love it.
Because it's less about the information. What my goal is with not just my listeners or my clients, but my friends, my family, is that people feel that I've brought that out in them, that they can feel empowered.
100%. And I say this all the time. I remember years ago, you and I had a conversation and you're like, Justin, every time you sit down with a potential client, ask for a higher price until you get to a point where more people say no than yes, then you find your price. Right. And so you've always poured into me. You've always given me your thoughts. You've always empowered me go a little bit bigger.
Well,
And
hold on. I said that to you because you were like way undercharging. I will
yeah,
say
well,
that.
for sure, for sure. And now I don't, which is the beauty of all
Yeah,
of it
now you don't
because of
have
that
to raise them anymore.
conversation. I just, it's one of those things that, it changed my life. And that's how you approach, I imagine, if you approach that relationship with me that way, that's how you
Mhm.
approach all your relationships. And I think that that speaks volumes to who you are, for
Well, I
sure.
think people don't seek their fullest potential in a lot of different areas. And I don't just mean that in business. I mean, I see that unfortunately in all areas. In health, for instance, this is too common. You go to your 5-minute doctor's appointment, your doctor does one test and says, this is the answer, this is the thing in a 5-minute appointment. And people take that as fact. That to me is very disempowering. Like that's why I do the programs I do and the conversations I have on my podcast is I want women not to get overwhelmed, but like to really go, wait a minute, there's more to this than a quick blood test and a 5-minute conversation.
Yeah, for sure. So I wrap up every single interview with the same question. But before we get there, how do people get more from you? How can they hear the podcast? How can they find you on social media? What's all the good stuff?
My podcast is Midlife Conversations. Justin is my producer. He's amazing. So Midlife Conversations. He did tell me he doesn't really produce a lot of podcasts anymore. But I'm an easy-ish client.
I enjoy working with you, which is
Depends
why
on the
we're
day.
still here 6, 7 years later, however long it's been at
Depends
this
on the
point.
day. My podcast is Midlife Conversations. On social media, I'm Natalie Jill Fit. Natalie Jill Fit. And then my website's nataliejill.com.
I love it. Like I said, Natalie, I wrap up every single interview with the same question, and that is, in your life, what has been your biggest moment of growth?
Having a daughter every
Just
year,
how
all
you said
year.
it, it
Yes.
means everything. I hear
Yes.
that. I
Yes.
hear
Having a
that.
daughter. That would be
But
it. I would say to me for a million reasons. I mean, like that's the best personal development you could have. Like literally. It's the
yeah,
best. Yeah.
I love it. Now I have to go back and listen 8 years ago to see if you had the same answer to that
Oh, I
question because
wonder
I,
if I
I
did.
asked it 8 years ago, so I have to go listen.
Okay.
But this has been phenomenal. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your wisdom with my audience. As always, Natalie, thank you so much.
Thanks, Justin.